In this week's Know Your Rights segment, Catherine Stone from Barbas Law is back to discuss a complicated issue that has a lot of people asking questions. We're talking workers' compensation. Catherine, I feel like workers' compensation, I've learned so much, but I got to say, I feel like it's like the ever-going topic that affects so many people.
It is a large part of our practice is workers' compensation because it's a lot more prevalent than people understand, and it's a lot more complicated, and the little nuances and, you know, the things related to it. A lot of times my clients are like, what? I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, I love to bring in examples from clients that I currently have, and one of which is, you know, average weekly wage and your earnings and how that affects what workers' comp may end up having to pay you if you're entitled to benefits. And the first way that they determine how much to pay you is they look at the 13 weeks before the accident to determine what's called your average weekly wage. So they take the 13 weeks. In most circumstances. Now there's some rule variances if you haven't worked substantially the whole of the 13 weeks, which that's why you just need to come talk to me if you haven't worked 13 weeks, and then we'll figure it out.
Right.
But standard is the 13 weeks, you get an average. That's what they utilize to determine how much they're going, that's the starting point.
Okay.
And every client that comes in the door, one of our second or third questions is, were you working anywhere else at the time of the accident? Because if you were working for another employer, some employers don't qualify. So like if you're just earning money, cash under the table, or you're whatever, then that may not qualify. But if you're working for an employer and you were receiving wages that you reported income tax for, then I can use that extra money to get your average weekly wage higher.
And so a lot of people, going to benefit the person.
Correct. It's going to benefit them. Now, what it also does, and the reason that we need to know about any concurrent jobs, is not only for the initial point of establishing how much they're going to pay you, but if you get a new job after the accident, or you get another job after the accident, or you get a part-time job, make sure you tell your attorney if you have one, or you're going to get some forms from the insurance company called DWC 19 Employee Earnings Reports. You've got to report those earnings. So I recently had a client who decided to tell me 6 months later that he had been working at another job. Oh. And I'm like, well, we've got to fill out these forms because that's going to affect how much work comp pays you. So it's very important not only to keep the insurance company apprised of any employment that you either had before the accident or that you get after the accident, because it can all affect how much you're paid. And you never want to get into a situation where the insurance company has overpaid you. Because then you're in an overpay status, and that's what we want to make sure you're not in an underpaid status, but we also want to make sure you don't get into an overpay status as well.
And I was going to say, when it comes to workers' comp, some of the things I've been able to put together overall, all the forms that do come to you,
you need
to get them to your lawyer, and you obviously need to report all employment, all wages, so that you can make sure you're on their side.
And some of these forms, if you don't fill them out, they can stop your benefits.
So very important. And at the end of the day, if you just want somebody on your side who can look out for you, well, Catherine's just the perfect person. If you have any questions about this segment or any others in our past, just give them a call, 1-800-BARBAS-LAW, or go to barbaslaw.com/knowyourrights.